Chapter 25. The city of China will never fall into the hands of foreigners. In the face of desperate disaster, they use their own flesh and blood, create a human wall, stand firmly between them and the monster. An indescribable sense of security grows in everyone's heart. The city of China will never fall. The 800,000 people murmured, silently chanting in their hearts, they firmly believe it. City of China, you will never fall into the hands of monsters. Live broadcast room, looking at the battle footage captured by the drone, countless netizens were silent. In front of the monster, human beings really seem too small. The second level undead are ferocious and cruel, and they make ear-piercing screams from time to time. Once they are allowed to rush into the position, some soldiers would be killed on the spot and brutally torn into several pieces. A number of casualties. It is growing at an alarming rate. Is the second level monster really so scary? Please, protect yourselves and come back safely. Monster's offensive, it's too fierce. I think it's better not to fight them head on. Why don't you retreat first? Withdraw? Do you think they are about to withdraw? In the barrage, countless viewers clutched their hearts and prayed for Zhang Yangguang and others. Some people even, I begged them to avoid its edge and stop fighting monsters with their flesh and blood, but no one retreated as Zhang Yangguang and others stuck to their respective positions and refused to give an inch. As hard as it is, but he still blocked the attacks from the second level undead. Both sides' situation, there was a vague stalemate, but everyone in the audience knows this stalemate situation was achieved with every living life. The United States Provisional Combat Headquarters. The battle scenes in Liangcheng were quietly shown on the screen and below, but Jobs was shocked and could not calm down for a long time. That he witnessed with his own eyes. Every warrior was torn into several pieces by the second level undead and died in painful wails, but others turned a deaf ear, leaning on the remains of his comrades. Hold your ground and not even a step back. Aren't they afraid of death? He stared at the live broadcast, his lips trembling uncontrollably. This picture, shocking, changed to another country faced with such a horrific casualty ratio. I am afraid it would have collapsed long ago. Available in China. In Liangcheng, death, the most terrifying thing in the world, seems so unworthy of mentioning. You only have one life. If you say give up, what puzzles him is, even if he continues to fight, he obviously has no chance of winning, but these people still persist. Is it worth it? He murmured. Asked quietly. I am not only asking Zhang Yangguang and others, but also asking myself. Think in someone else's shoes. Will the American military be so desperate to save ordinary people? After a while. He got the answer. Boom. 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 Not far away, the large-scale weapons launched by the military accurately targeted the fallen city, launched an indiscriminate attack. China Northern Frontier, Valley Base. Yang Mo looked at the battle footage captured by the drone. Keep your feet together, stand upright, stand up straight, put your hands up to your forehead and perform a standard military salute. This time, except Zhang Yangguang and others. On the military side, reinforcements are already being deployed and they are quickly heading towards Liangcheng. Everyone knows this is an impossible battle to win, but they still resolutely rush to Liangcheng to face the terrifying second-level undead, because they know that if we don't go, 800,000 compatriots will become food for monsters. Only with their death, only then can we give the 800,000 people behind us a chance to live again. No one is born without fear of death, but there are always people who fight for the faith in their hearts. For the sake of our compatriots. Be you willing to give up your life and die generously? These people. It is the backbone of China. It is precisely because of countless such people that China has been able to endure for 5,000 years and remain standing. How long will it take for the Book of Life and Death plan to be completed? Yang Mo took a deep breath and looked behind him at Zhao Ziyan, who was already in tears. Zhao Ziyan quickly wiped the tears on her face. Adjust your emotions, enter working mode, and replied, 28 hours. Today, the whole of China learned about the changes in Liangcheng. The staff involved in the Book of Life and Death project are doing their best to speed up the project. Many people have vomited blood at their posts. The original 30 hours, IT was compressed to 28 hours. Time flies so slowly. Yang Yamo glanced at the clock on the table and frowned. Yeah, 28 hours, they don't know if they can last. Zhao Ziyan's face was full of bitterness, and she also lived like a year. Previously, she had never felt that time pass so slowly. They can hold on, Yang Yamo said with absolute certainty without even thinking about it. Same for the people of China. Every point, every second. It's all suffering. They put down what they were doing and stared at the live broadcast room intently. As the battle progresses, the casualties of the demon hunting team and the military have become increasingly tragic. More than half of the 300-person demon hunting team was gradually killed or injured. The military, it paid the price of thousands of People. 38-second level undead, screaming and howling, becoming increasingly bloodthirsty and crazy, harvesting lives. Seeing that the defense line is about to collapse, reinforcements arrived, blocked the gap, and stood firm in their position. Continue to block the monster. Time, it just passed slowly. 1 day later. Liangcheng died in the blocking position. Zhang Yangguang dragged his tired body and still directed the battle with difficulty. Beside him, it is the remains of a comrade's body. A military division has suffered more than half its casualties. Of the most professional demon hunting team now only has 82 people left, the others all died in battle. Successful. Suddenly, a cry of exclamation broke out in the camp. A second level undead was hit by a heavy sniper rifle, covered by additional firepower, and finally suffered heavy damage. He fell to the ground, completely lost combat effectiveness. Ha 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 ha, fuck you, I thought you were really immortal. Zhang Yangguang laughed heartily and cursed hard. This has been the war for so long. The first level 2 undead they knocked down. It also greatly boosted morale. On the position, cheers of extreme excitement erupted. Everyone is as excited as a chicken. With fierce eyes, he stared at the second level undead in front of him. The city of China will never fall. Quietly, this slogan echoed in the battlefield again. They became more and more convinced. In this battle, they are the final winners. And on the opposite side, the remaining 37 second level undead also temporarily stopped hunting. They, with goat-horned faces, looked at Zhang Yangguang and others in shock, with incomprehension on their faces. Why? This group of weak humans can burst out with such amazing energy. I have blocked them for so long. Chapter 26. When the dragons of Kyushu roar, monsters slay. Obviously, the strength gap between the two sides is so huge they haven't given up yet. Kill a batch, here comes another batch. They went on and on, sacrificing their own lives, which actually gave them the illusion that they could not finish the killing. The city of China will never fall. In their ears, these 8 words kept echoing. Unknowingly, the whole Liang city echoed this voice. That is, from the 800,000 surviving people, it seems to be responding to Zhang Yangguang and others. They all shouted this slogan at the top of their lungs and with all their strength. 800,000 people said in unison, shaking the mountains, through the sky. An indescribable will fill the sky above Liangcheng. Tragic, vigorous, but there is also a sense of determination that it is better to be broken than to be ruined. The eyelids of the remaining 37 undead twitched wildly, and endless chills and fears surged in their hearts. Soon after they reacted, they burst out with strong murderous intent. A brazen attack. A fierce attack was launched again. This civilization cannot be left behind. Yanjing, cabinet, conference room. The battle scene in Liangcheng is playing quietly on the screen. Liangcheng, can you hold it? Wang Yu pursed his lips, but his palms were covered in sweat. The other old men were also extremely nervous and looked at the screen worriedly. As of now, more than 3,000 warriors have died at the hands of the second level undead, but our side only knocked down a second level creature. 3,000 to 1 battle loss. Based on this. To destroy these 38 second level undead, the death of 110,000 soldiers must be paid, equivalent to ruining 11 divisions. The strength of the two sides is extremely different. Think of this. Everyone's mood became increasingly dull. Chief, the official website of the Monster Research Institute has posted a video, and it is being forwarded like crazy by all netizens. At this time, an assistant hurried into the conference room and handed a mobile phone to everyone. Wang Yu frowned. Open this video. I saw Yang Mo stood in front of the camera and said hello with a tired expression. Hello, compatriots. I am the general person in charge of the Book of Life and Death project and the director of the Monster Research Institute, Yang Mo. I know that everyone must be watching the fighting situation in Liangcheng now and worrying about the soldiers fighting on the front line. The battle loss ratio of 3,000 to 1 is indeed disappointing. But, speaking of this, Yang Mo paused slightly and announced in a deep voice, the Book of Life and Death project took 283 hours and has been completed. Then he turned sideways, moved the camera up to reveal a giant steel machine group behind you. Rough estimate. It is composed of at least hundreds of thousands of small machine components, dense lines, together with the machines with different functions. They are integrated into a whole. From the appearance, it is like a black ancient book, standing quietly on the earth. Everyone has been curious about what the Book of Life and Death plan is. Yang Mo's voice sounded faintly. Here, I can tell you responsibly, Book of Life and Death is a new technological weapon developed to suppress monsters. Now, Book of Life and Death has entered the final startup stage. Facing the camera, Yang Mo took a deep breath and said solemnly, it will take an hour. So, please the soldiers of Liangcheng, hold on for 1 more hour. An hour later. When the dragons of Kyushu roar, it is the time for monsters to slay them. The video ends here. It's over, and in the conference room, several old men looked at each other with disbelief. Academician Yang, has it been successful? With a look on his face, some are confused, some are surprised, some are excited, and some are incredible. Book of Life and Death, under the leadership of Yang Mo, it was actually built, and 12 days later than expected. 5 hours early. Quick, inform the front line. Let them hold on for another hour no matter what. Wang Yu was the first to react and immediately issued the order. At the same time, China Valley Base, all engineers are standing at their respective posts, ready for action. Hold your breath and concentrate. IT seems to be waiting for something. Start. Finally, in their ears, Yang Mo's final instructions came. Song Gaoyun, Chui Tianhao, and others suppressed the excitement in their hearts and activated the regional modules they were responsible for. Buzz. Only a loud noise was heard, and the huge Book of Life and Death shook violently with the valley. They all trembled at the same frequency, like an earthquake. Next, China's long border. 10,000 brainwave base stations also received instructions from Yang Mo. The person in charge of the respective strategic points responded quickly the first time. Start the brainwave base station. Zizizi, amid the tremors, thousands of brainwave base stations operated simultaneously. The terrifying energy was released, intertwined in the 9.6 million square kilometers of China. This moment, people all over the country heard a strange sound in their ears. It sounded like electric waves. It was like a roaring wind. It's like the whisper of a heroic spirit. Eventually, these complex sounds intertwined and converged into a roaring sound, trembling the sky, like dragon roar. Dragon roar. It's the dragon's roar. The Chinese people hurriedly walked out of the room and looked to the sky excitedly. The sky, still shrouded in a gray curtain, but it kept coming, one after another, becoming clearer and clearer. That is, their Chinese totem. The dragon is roaring. It represents anger, it represents dissatisfaction, it represents being touched. The dragon roar appears. Can the Book of Life and Death, built by Dean Yang, really wipe out those second-level monsters? How to wipe it out? Liangcheng still has 800,000 compatriots, don't hurt them by mistake. Not only are there 800,000 compatriots, but also the soldiers who fought bloody battles. We must let them all come back alive. Senior soldiers, you must protect your comrades. In the live broadcast room, netizens from all over the country gathered here, excitedly discussing the sudden dragon roar. They are waiting for what Yang Mo said. The Book of Life and Death is officially launched. They are pray that the 800,000 people in Liangcheng who are targeted by monsters can survive safely. Liangcheng. Half of the city has been reduced to ruins. And the IT was filled with blood and smoke. Fighting till now. Zhang Yangguang and others are on the verge of collapse. The level of mental stress and physical exhaustion has reached the maximum. Demon hunting team, from the 300 people fighting to now, there are only more than 40 people left, but they still no intention of retreating. Dragon roar appears. Zhang Yangguang was dragging his tired body to direct the next wave of battles, but he suddenly raised his head. Chapter 27. The King of Hell wants you to die at the third watch and will never leave anyone alive until the fifth watch. Looking at the sky excitedly, the sound of the dragon's roar is so clear and melodious. It was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard in his life. Roar, and in front of everyone, the distinguished second-level undead seemed to have realized something. They were frightened. A high-pitched howl broke out. The eyes are scarlet, turned into afterimages. At in astonishing speed, they rushed towards Zhang Yangguang and others on the position. However, the charge is halfway through. They encountered the most terrifying thing in their lives. An invisible force arrived suddenly, unstoppable. There is no way to avoid it, penetrated through their brains and directly obliterated their consciousness. The next second, a number of ferocious monsters with ram-shaped faces, tall bodies, and heights of 2 meters fell from high altitudes, fall to the ground, moveless. There was silence. Win? Zhang Yangguang stared blankly at the scene in front of him, feeling unreal in his heart. I suspect that the monster is deliberately pretending to be dead, trying to trick them into coming forward and attacking them. In order to deal with these monsters, their demon hunting team and the military have suffered more than 4,000 casualties. Nearly half of the division was lost in battle. He was able to knock down a second-level undead. This is enough to show how tenacious these monsters are. Outside the city, 3 divisions have also arrived at the garrison, one after another, ready to take over their positions at any time. It's not that China doesn't want to use all its strength, the main thing is, facing the second-level undead, the number of people cannot solve the fundamental problem. On the contrary, the more people come, the more casualties there will be, unless China disregards the life and death of 800,000 people and uses weapons of mass destruction, but this is almost impossible. Sure enough, Dean Yang is right. The best way to deal with monsters is to develop new weapons in a targeted manner. Zhang Yangguang murmured. After experiencing this battle, he understood more and more the science fiction heavenly plan proposed by Yang Imo. If there is no Book of Life and Death, facing these 30 or so ferocious second-level undead, there is no telling how many people will be sacrificed. Victory! We have won. All the monsters were wiped out, and Liangcheng has not fallen. On the position, after everyone reacted, they burst into cheers, crying with joy. Unknowingly, I was in tears. Yangcheng. A certain news building, the top 3 internet companies in China. Chairman, the information you requested has arrived. The female secretary walked into the office of the company boss holding a stack of information. These information, it is China's military secret information. They spent a lot of money and connections to find out from relevant departments. Mr. Ma? Mr. Ma? The female secretary put the information on the table, but found that the chairman's office chair had been facing away from her. She shouted several times in succession, still no response. In desperation, I had to go around the desk and walk behind the office chair. A scream rang throughout the building, then immediately all over the country. A series of strange deaths occurred. What's even more outrageous is, after these people died, their bodies twisted and turned into monsters with horns and human faces and bodies covered with scales. Their identity, most of them are middle and high-level people in society and have certain rights, only under China's high-density investigation avoided repeatedly. No identity was discovered, but Book of Life and Death is activated, covering 9.6 million square kilometers of land in China. All monsters, all of them were unable to escape and died suddenly on the spot. At the same time, the picture transmitted back through the drone, the people of China witnessed with their own eyes a second-level undead man falling to the ground. No more sound. The entire live broadcast room was boiling instantly. Book of Life and Death. I probably understand why that weapon is called Book of Life and Death. Ha 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 ha. The King of Hell asked you to die at the 3rd watch. Who dares to keep you until the 5th watch? More. This weapon is so awesome. It can actually identify monsters and kill them directly. Magnificent. China. The barrages were overwhelming. Netizens were typing frantically to vent their shock. Excited. The appearance of the Book of Life and Death made them feel proud and angry. Powerful as a second-level undead. In the face of this incredible weapon, there is no way to fight back. As the saying goes, the King of Hell wants you to die at the 3rd watch and will never leave anyone alive until the 5th watch. Book of Life and Death. In Chinese myths and legends, it is one of the artifacts that suppresses the underworld. The underworld relies on it to control the life and death of living beings and determine the destiny of all beings. The United States, temporary headquarters. A huge mushroom cloud rose in the city not far away. Indiscriminate coverage attack arrived in this city occupied by monsters. Justice. It is erasing all traces of existence in the city. It's over. Jobs breathed a sigh of relief, feeling extremely heavy. As the commander-in-chief, he personally buried hundreds of thousands of American people, and he felt uncomfortable, but for the future of the United States, they must not be kidnapped by monsters. This must be done. Where is China? After handling the battle, he looked at the adjutant beside him. He asked in a deep voice, Liangcheng, has it been completely invaded by monsters? The adjutant heard this. I dialed the phone immediately and contacted the intelligence department. Ask about Liangcheng. You can keep asking. His expression, but suddenly froze. He showed a look of disbelief. Is China still persisting in vain? Jobs frowned, shook his head and sneered. Yes, they have always been hypocritical, claiming that they will not give up any of their compatriots. But it doesn't matter. He believed it won't be long. China will make the same decision as the United States. For the continuation of the race, there are only hundreds of thousands of people, and we must give up when it's time to give up. No, China's Liangcheng crisis has been resolved. The adjutant put down the satellite phone and reported the report with a wry smile. What? Jobs' eyes widened. Could it be China is more decisive than them and has already used large-scale weapons, directly destroying Liangcheng? All the second-level monsters in Liangcheng died out of thin air not long ago. The adjutant shook his head and explained. The intelligence department said that it was because China launched a program called the Weapon of Book of Life and Death, wiped out all the second-level monsters in the territory out of thin air. Death out of thin air? Book of Life and Death? Jobs' pupils shrank and his face became a little ugly. Book of Life and Death. He knows the plan before. China had mobilized the whole country, and all domestic matters had given way to this plan, but what he didn't expect was that this Book of Life and Death turned out to be a new weapon developed by China. Chapter 28 SSS Level Evaluation. The physical fitness of the entire population increased by 100%, a weapon that can instantly kill second-level monsters. Even, the intelligence department said that all monsters in China have been wiped out by this weapon. This is too science fiction. Are you sure that all the monsters in China are dead? Jobs suppressed the shock and surprise in his heart and asked the most critical question. He would rather believe that these second-level monsters committed suicide than believe that there really is a weapon like the Book of Life and Death. The adjutant hesitated, obviously not sure about this matter. Just at this time, eye in the sky. A majestic voice came from the gray curtain covering the sky. It solemnly declared, frowny face, the first round of civilization trials is officially over. Based on the performance of various countries' civilizations in the first round of civilization trials, the calculation will now be carried out. Chinese civilization has successfully eliminated all monsters in the country. It has performed extremely well and is rated SSS level. The Chinese people will permanently receive a 100% physical bonus. American civilization successfully killed 153 monsters, and the number of remaining monsters in the country is 746. The performance is average, and the evaluation is A level. American people will permanently receive a 10% physical bonus. The civilization of the White Bear Country successfully killed 142 monsters, and the remaining monsters in the country were 712. The performance was average, and the evaluation was A level. The people of the White Bear Country permanently received a 10% physical bonus. Gaul civilization successfully killed 74 monsters, and the remaining monsters in the country were 972. The performance was average and rated as B level. The people of Gaul permanently received an 8% physical bonus. The civilization of Bangxi Country successfully killed 12 monsters, leaving 1,497 monsters in the country. It performed extremely poorly and was rated D. The people of Bangxi Country will permanently receive a 1% physical bonus. The next round of civilization trials will start in 3 days. Mysterious sound echoes around the world. An extremely objective evaluation was made of the civilized trials of each country. Next eye in the gray curtain, mystical power spills out like a gift from nature. It covers the surface of the earth. As long as the country has received evaluation, the people's physical fitness has increased to a certain extent. My power. Jobs' face was filled with shock, and he was keenly aware of the surprising changes in himself. No, not just power. After undergoing silent transformation, all aspects of his physical quality have been improved to a certain extent: strength, speed, agility, reflexes, thinking, brain capacity, every aspect. It is much better than before. I didn't expect that the civilization trial would be settled and there would be rewards. Jobs trembled slightly and muttered to himself, each round of trials will be settled accordingly based on the performance of each country. The higher the rating, the bonuses enjoyed by people in various countries will be even greater. Monster crisis. IT seems more than just a disaster. IT is a ladder for civilization to become stronger and keep climbing upwards. That is to say, Huaxia has really killed all the monsters in the country and won SSS level rewards. He quickly figured this out and couldn't help but feel itching with hatred. Envy, jealousy, and hatred. 10% physical bonus, also amazing. Isn't that 100% physical bonus equivalent to a complete rebirth? And the solemn voice announcement clearly stated that there are still 764 disguised monsters lurking in the United States. Only China is the pure land on earth, but for other countries. Although the first round of civilization trials is over, the disaster is not over yet. There are also a large number of monsters lurking in various countries of them. It's like a ticking time bomb. IT may explode at any time. Notify the intelligence department and try every means to find out the core secrets of the Book of Life and Death. He took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, we must know, what method did China use to kill all the monsters in the country? 3 days later, the second round of civilization trials will start again. They didn't even clean up the monsters in the first round. At that time. A new monster has arrived, and the United States will be even worse. Tubing, the world's largest video platform. A series of changes in China, as well as the mysterious sound that suddenly appeared in the sky, once again caused a sensation all over the world. Oh my God! Liancheng in China actually did not fall. it was defended by them. Did you hear the sound just now? I feel like my body is much younger than before. Our country in the United States has received an A-level evaluation, but the national physique has only increased by 10%. Why did China increase by 100%? The voice just now seemed to mean that China had wiped out all the monsters in its territory. People from all over the world were surprised to find out. As the settlement announcement said, the physical fitness of all people in their country has been improved accordingly, but no one can be happy because there are still a lot of monsters lurking in our country. Stronger than the United States. He also received an A-level evaluation, and the national physique increased by 10%, but there are still more than 700 terrifying monsters lurking in the country. 10% physical improvement. It does not bring them any sense of security. Only China, the physical fitness of all people has been increased by 100%, and all monsters in the territory have been cleared. At this time, it can be called the only pure land in the world. I hate it so much. Why am I not from China? Now I am so scared when I go out to buy something. At Zaya, I want to move to your country and accept black people. I've had enough of the days of fear and gall. I'll buy a plane ticket now and fly to China in the evening. Damn, American politicians actually made the decision to bomb the city. My wife and children are in that city. The fear of death, shrouded in the borders of various countries, it still lingers. After discovering China's security, people from all over the world are buying air tickets overnight to escape from their countries. Set off a frenzy of fleeing to China. Just when they clicked on the ticket purchase platform, they found that China had already stopped international flights. Overseas import is prohibited. If you want to enter China, you must have Chinese nationality, or be a foreigner who has made outstanding and important contributions to China. This policy, it has completely cut off the chance mentality of people in all countries. Those Chinese who had voluntarily given up their Chinese nationality regretted it even more. China, all over the country. A carnival is going on quietly with the completion of the Book of Life and Death. The monsters in the country have been cleared, and the physical fitness of the entire people has been improved by 100%. Every piece. These are all things worthy of national celebration. I in the live broadcast room, Zhao Ziyan sat in front of the camera and showed a sweet smile. Compatriots, I can tell you responsibly that there are no more monsters in our country. This victory belongs to all of us. Hear this. Many of the 90 million netizens in the live broadcast room had tears in their eyes, full of emotions. The first round of civilization trials lasted for a month. During this time, they obey the state's control and stay at home honestly so as not to cause trouble to China. After the Book of Life and Death plan is launched, the entire nation responded and made concessions, creating an impossible miracle.